What up, y'all? It is your boy Aquino
And Chuck T's.
and this is Driving While Black Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in once again and riding with us as we navigate the black experience. We are in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Yay!
Woo.
Yeah.
Man, how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great, man. I can't complain, man. I just bought some Bitcoin. We
both
just bought some crypto. I bought Ethereum. You bought what, Bitcoin?
I bought both. I bought both. I'm diversifying my portfolio.
They say buy on the dip, so we buying, man. We invest in our dollars, man. We trying to put them to work, man. So, but yeah, man, I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Man, I can't complain, man. You know, life is good and life is moving forward.
Nice, man. Absolutely, man. Every day above ground is a beautiful day, man. You are blessed, man. So, again, thank y'all for riding with us. This is episode 11. We made it over that 10 hump, so you know, now we in the double digits now, so
Yep.
Which is cool, which is good. Keep rocking with us. We got a lot of things, a lot of cool things to display and talk about. So, if it's your first time, listening to us, tuning in, we just want to let y'all know what we're about. Driving While Black is a platform to talk to our black and brown people and just talk about some of the issues that we're going through, that we're facing, immediate issues, kind of historical issues, and talk about, air out our grievances, and kind of, we use this platform as a means of therapy to kind of talk through these issues, but also we want to celebrate our black and brown people, uplift them, and shed a spotlight on the good things and the positive things that are going on within our community. So, with that being said, we back with another episode on POWERNOMICS.
Yeah.
So we going over chapter 2, man. Man, chapter 2. What did you think of chapter 2?
Chapter 2 is heavy.
Chapter 2 was fire.
Chapter 2 is heavy.
Chapter 2 was fire. I was reading it, I was mad excited when I was reading it. I'm like, damn.
I was pumped, bro. When I read books, my mind drifts. I was locked in.
I was locked in.
I was locked in. So I actually want to go back to, you said this is episode 11.
Yep.
Now, I know this may not be for everybody, but for me personally, the number 11 is a special number.
Okay, why?
It's a spiritual number.
Okay.
It's a master number.
Okay.
You cannot multiply any number to create or to get to 11.
You can't multiply.
You can't multiply to get to 11.
It's
a solid master number.
And you can multiply any other number?
You can't multiply any other number besides 11 to get 11. 1 or 11. That's
1
it.
or 11. Damn.
So it's a master number.
That's
so
crazy.
This is actually a special episode, and this is a special chapter in this
chapter
book.
Fire, bro.
Chapter 2, The Keys to Empowerment. Once again, this is a book by Dr. Claude Anderson. POWERNOMICS, the National Plan to Empower Black America. So this is not a national plan for the individual. This is a national plan for the group in its entirety.
For our black people. And I would say, please go pick. I know we said it the first episode, but after reading the second chapter, please, if you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this, order you a copy of this book and read it. Read it with us, please. There's a lot of jewels and gems in here. There's a lot of information that is definitely going to spark a lot of ideas and thoughts and just bring light to a lot of things and change your perspective on some things, or heighten your perspective. Maybe not change it. Maybe you're already thinking in this realm and on this wavelength, but it's just going to heighten and take it to the next level. We already had an in-depth conversation about it, but now we're doing it in front of the camera. Right. But, man, I was just excited reading the book and just relating it to my life, relating it to what's going on in the world, and just trying to figure out how we navigate, our empowerment, how we get the keys to empowerment.
Right. And I think, this chapter breaks down 3 major keys. DJ Khaled voice.
Major keys.
Major keys.
Major key alert.
And the 3 keys to empowerment are, the first key, an empowerment culture, right? The second key would be a group vision.
Acquire a group vision.
Third key to empowerment, ethno-aggregation, and vertical integration. So we're going to try to dive into these 4 keys. Well, I guess it's 3 keys, but 4 in general. And we're going to break it down. We're going to have a conversation about this. So,
and again, I can't stress this enough. If you listening to this, if you're watching this, please just go on Amazon, order this. It's $25, I think, at the most. And read it. Don't just order it and let it collect dust, but read it. There's a lot of good shit in here, man. Even just after the 2nd chapter, I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling enlightened, and man, I'm just feeling good. I'm digging it.
Right, and I definitely appreciate the fact that we're actually reading this book, because we originally tried to get an audiobook, right?
Yeah.
Because it's easier to listen to. You listen to it in the car, and we can get it done. But actually reading it, we're making highlights to key points that stuck out to us.
Right.
And it just, to be able to touch and feel it and receive the message and read it, it does something to you.
It's different. Yeah, reading books versus listening to them, there's a difference for sure. And I feel especially this book in particular, I think it's the reason why it's not an audiobook. I think you meant to read it.
And that's why we decided to do episodes on this book.
Yeah.
Because we know the people need this information. And if you're not going to read the book, listen to Driving While Black. Right.
And I just before we dive into it, I wanted to say from the inception of our podcast, we didn't want this podcast just to be a platform where we kind of just, although airing out our grievances and kind of talking through the trauma, and that's important. That's that has to happen. But we also wanted to talk about tangible solutions and ideas that we can come up with to move forward and better ourselves and better our communities. And literally, this book is that. It's giving you the facts of where we're at as a community in regards to economics and politics, but how we move the needle and how we progress and how we empower ourselves, how we get the keys to empowerment. So that's why I love this book too, because I like to look at myself as a positive person, so I don't like to necessarily dwell on the negative all the time. I like to see, okay, how do I get better? How do I improve? How do I move forward in a positive light? And this is what this book is. So again, get yourself a copy.
Right, to start this. Yeah, I like how, before we even get to the keys, I highlighted this because it was kind of right off the top. Well, first off, it says, any race that loves the world and hates itself will eventually become its own oppressor.
Just deep.
So that's pretty deep. So it says here, blacks will need the right combination of skills, appropriated mindsets, clear direction, and a sense of self-group interest, and a competitive group spirit in order to compete and win. When these attitudes are properly mixed with our group competitive advantages, we can begin to play real-life Monopoly. It can be done, and it will not be easy. It will require Black Americans to make drastic behavior changes.
100%.
That's very, that's profound in itself, like the meaning statement. We'll eventually become our own oppressor. We know that, we have our grievances with people of white descent, and we have some belief that their ancestors and the way the system was developed is the reason why we're in the position today. But in 2021, with the internet age and the age of information, we have the keys to free ourselves, and we also hide the keys to oppress ourselves in this moment.
Right. And what's powerful is it also says a few pages after that is this is a team sport. Like Black America's road to empowerment is going to take all of us, or a majority of us. It's a team sport. We can't do it individually. We have to be on the same page. But then it also says, basically, we have to save ourselves. We can't rely on other groups, other races of people, other communities to say, all right, we've been winning for too long. We've been dominating for too long. All right, Black people, come on. It's an even playing field right now. Let's compensate you for all your hard work. Let's bring you into these spaces so we're now on equal footing. That is never going to happen. Literally ever. That it goes against just human instincts, right? People are going to look out for their best interests of themselves, their families, their communities, and people that look like them.
Right.
So in order to compete in this game, we have to click up and come together.
Right. That's a must. And we actually spoke about this before. That's kind of one of the big issues with us as black people moving into a space where we can control our economics, control our politics, control our businesses, and come together. The problem is trust. So I like to use the analogy of like you said, wealth is a team sport. So like a team, like basketball.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, but we all know Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan never won a championship by themselves.
Right.
They needed the other players and everybody to work and use their skills to the best of their ability for the betterment of the team, the betterment of the group. So yes, there may be a person that is better suited to be the LeBron or to be the Jordan. You might be better to be the shooter, or better to be a rebounder, or better to be the first person coming off the bench because your skill set is required there.
Right.
So we have to trust each other to come together and build something and not have to be the star of this team.
Right. And share our resources, share our knowledge, and share our expertise, and build us up economically and politically. But that kind of speaks to the third key. Let's start with the first one, which talks about building a culture, an empowerment culture. And that he talks about specifically in regards to Black America. Our culture is, a big part of our culture is music, right? Mm-hmm. Black people are musically inclined, whether we're talking about rap, hip hop, R&B, rhythm and blues, rock and roll,
classical,
whatever it is, right? We're just musically inclined. He talks about sports. He talks about, the fact that whatever sport we are allowed to be in, is what he says, we dominate, right? We're very athletic naturally. He talks about, he just talks about emotionally and spiritually, the things that we've had to endure as a people. We are now very emotionally and spiritually equipped and sound to a certain extent. He talks about education. He's like, the fact that within 30 years we've gone from coming out of slavery, we've come from being illiterate and being denied the access and the right to read, to kind of flipping that and being extremely educated. What are some other things he talks about in regards to culture? And he talks about music.
Those are kind of like the backbones of our culture, is like you said, music, sports,
language. He talks about the ability to create language.
Right.
Yeah. So, and basically what he's saying in regards to this is we have to create a culture that we can all get behind, because in definition, a culture is something that a group of people can share and kind of relate to. So different things people can relate to and share. And this is essentially what congregates us, what we can kind of hang our hat on, and where we excel. So music is big. Hip hop is a huge platform and a huge piece of our culture. It was started to kind of tell our stories. It was a voice for the voiceless. So that is a huge piece of our culture. Music, just a way to express ourselves. That's a huge piece of our culture.
Right, and specifically hip-hop, not hip-hop as in music, but hip-hop as in dance, as in, obviously, rap, spoken word, and just these different types of things. These are our culture. This is how we express ourselves. But I think what Claude Anderson highlights in the book is to an extent, we don't own our culture. We don't control it. Our culture is being controlled by groups that don't have our best interests. And the first key to empower ourselves is we have to create a positive culture for us and our families and our group.
Yeah, we have to create a culture that we are all proud of and again, that we can hang our hats on, and that we can have a sense of pride about, right? And I think we do have a sense of pride, you know, in regards to music, in regards to sports, in regards to, our ability to, our work ethic, and things like that. But I think we talked about it. I think we do have, of course, some flaws in our culture. I think we have, and let's just talk about it. I think I mentioned hip hop. I think hip hop is a big piece of our culture that we love, that the world has adopted. It's the biggest genre of music in the world, but I think a lot of the messaging in hip hop is a detriment to our young people and our communities.
Facts.
The message is to hate, disrespect each other, people that look like you, to kill each other, to disrespect, to look down upon, to stunt, to flex on our brothers and our sisters, right? To spend our money very irresponsibly, right? To flex, to stunt, to flash, to blow money, to throw money. Like, if we're talking about powernomics and how to build ourselves up economically, how are we talking about throwing money? Like, literally, part of our culture is throwing money.
Right. It's really crazy because, like, right, our culture teaches us to spend money, as loosely as possible, and to not buy assets. And on top of that, within our culture, we spend money with other communities. And communities and a group of people that don't even want us to buy their products. So Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Hennessy, these companies are owned by Europeans. These companies literally don't want us buying and promoting their products. Then it's literally not meant for us. They're probably rolling in their graves, kicking themselves in the asses because they're like, I don't want y'all wearing our shit. This is not for you. This is not meant for y'all. But we take our hard-earned dollars and we spend money with these companies, and we're just adding to these families' generational wealth. Yeah. We popularize these companies.
We make these companies billions and billions of dollars, and little do we know, they don't even want us buying their shit. We kill over these. We degrade people. We make people feel bad if they're not wearing a certain type of designer. If they don't got a Birkin, or they're not wearing Chanel or Louis. Bro, these people don't want you wearing their shit, and you just took $2,000 to $25,000 of your hard-earned money and spent it with them. And it's funny to me, right? Because sometimes you'll hear celebrities and certain people talk about, I just went into the Louis Vuitton store and the salesperson followed me around the store. But I got money, so I spent
$30K.
Why? Why did you do that? Why the fuck did you do that? Don't do that.
Because they wanted to stunt. I want to stunt, bro. Because I want to let everybody know that I got money.
And I'm better than you because I got money and I spent $30K at a Louis Vuitton store, but the lady thought I was stealing because I'm black, and so black people are not supposed to have money. So, bro, we got to stop doing that.
I want to prove to y'all that I can afford to blow $30K, even though deep inside I'm sweating. Because I know half the shit's gonna sit in my closet, and because I'm scared to wear it.
Right.
I don't want to get it dirty.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like, you worked for that money. Like,
right.
You didn't let that money mature. You didn't put that money in places to where it could grow. You just said, here.
Right.
Here you go. I just spent however many hours to obtain this wealth, this amount of money. and I gave it to you for something that's not going to make me money back.
Right. And that's a tangent, but to bring it back, it's about culture, creating a culture that we can stand on and that we can all get behind, and something that's positive we can hang our hats on, and that has good values and morals in it, and it has the right messaging. And although I love hip hop, I love me some hip hop, we all do.
Yeah.
But I think we just need more of a balance, man. We need more of a positive message that is going to set us up for success. And it's a gift and a curse, right? Because hip-hop, you have the entrepreneurship. You have some of the top earners in our communities. We make money. We hustle. We're artistic. We're expressive. We're innovative, right? But the messaging could be a lot better. The messaging could be a lot better, or there could just be more of a balance. But that's what he talks about. He just talks about creating a culture, again, that we can all get behind and we can hang our hats on, and that can bring us together. And I feel like even though hip hop brings us together and music brings us together, the messaging in some of the music tears us down and brings us apart. It's funny, right? Because it's like the music. We all, black people, share common interest in hip-hop and music, but when you throw it on and you listen to it, we riding and we homies and we boys, but it's saying kill niggas and get the ops and shoot it's like, what? That don't really, it brings us together, but then it says, and then it puts us at odds.
Right.
It's kind of crazy when you really sit down and think about it.
Yeah, and you think about it like, where is this going to take me?
Right.
Like, I'm listening to these things. I'm indulging in the culture. I'm a young person.
Right.
I'm indulging in the culture. I'm wearing the clothes. I'm buying the music. I'm speaking the language.
Yeah.
But everything I'm getting out of it is at my detriment.
Right.
Subconsciously. I don't know. It's the culture. It's us. This is what we do. But we don't question what this culture is going to do to us in the future. Right. So in here, he speaks on to achieve our empowerment culture. It's like our, traditional institutions like our schools, families, and churches have to mentally prepare us as a team to take calculated risks. These traditional institutions have to go twice as hard to make sure our culture is the way we need it to be. So when it comes to the family, it comes to the church, it comes to the school, it comes to maybe your place of business. If you own a business and you're around our people, we have to make sure the culture in these environments are to create a base where we can build the culture. We come together, we all agree on this culture, and then we're able to create a vision together because we all believe in the same thing.
I think, what you're speaking to is the second key to empowerment is the vision. Right. So once we're together, once we have a culture that we can share, there has to be a vision. All right, where are we going now? We need a tangible vision that we all can agree on, and essentially a plan that will get us to where we need to be.
Right.
And that's what he talks about as the second key to empowerment.
Right. And he had mentioned in regards to the second key that black people as a group did not have a vision until civil rights. Right. And Martin Luther King gave us a dream. And then black people as a collective, we started to create that vision in our minds, but we were not all on the same page when that happened, because largely in part due to integration. That dream was kind of blurred.
I think he says, it was, we weren't all on the same page, but then integration was kind of the dream, right? The famous speech, I have a dream, and the dream was integration, but he says the vision, not the dream, the vision should be economic power. That's how we really propel, and that's how we empower ourselves, and that's how we're sufficient. We need to have have economic power, and we need to have political power. So that's what he says. We need to control economic and political resources, and again, just be self-sufficient, and as a people be able to compete with other races. And he talks about other groups and communities of people. He talks about the Jewish community, how they have come together and relied on each other and built their own communities and have executed group economics and been able to build an ecosystem where they are respected and within society, and they have become an economic a powerhouse.
Definitely, yeah. And like you said, it starts from that collective vision.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in that group knew where they came from,
Right?
knew where they are currently, and know where they want to go.
And I think they all, in regards to being on the same page, right, and having the same vision, they all knew, because he talks about Jewish people, he talks about the Cubans in Florida, he talks about the Arabs, and I think Detroit. And the Asian community, and the common denominator is these groups of people put their self-interest first.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I need to build up my community. I need to look out for the interests of my community. I can't be worried about the other I can't be worried about, if I'm a Jewish person, not to say Jewish people don't care about black people or anything like that, or the black community, but I'm gonna sow into my community first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where that is our area of opportunity. I think black people, we sow into other communities before we sow into our own. We don't put our community's self-interest first.
No, and I think we spoke about this, but I believe that some part of black people as a group psyche, that we trust other people outside of our group before we trust our brother and sister. Yeah,
we trust other people, and we want to be we have a longing to be accepted by other groups. I think from the end of slavery into Jim Crow, our dream and our objective was to integrate. And
that's really only socially.
Integrate socially. And Dr. Claude Anderson talks about how integration, essentially, without compensation for slavery, without economic backing, hurts us. Because if all we're doing is integrating, but we're not looking out for the best interest of our communities, and we're not building up our communities and supporting each other, and all we're doing is taking our hard-earned dollars and spending it in the Asian community, spending it in the Jewish community, spending it in the Hispanic community, how are we building up our communities?
Well, right.
We're not.
And even then, even though we spend our money in those communities, those people in those communities come to our community and build businesses in our community.
Right.
Take our money and bring it back to theirs.
Right. So I think with the vision piece is, I think we just need to work on putting our self-interest first and not being afraid of that. And sometimes it might sound harsh, and it might sound harsh if you're just like, I'm buying black, I'm supporting black, everything I do is black, and I'm keeping it within the community and the culture. Sometimes black people, we feel a way about that. We feel like, we got to include everybody. It's the human race, not the black race. It's not about color. It's about humanity, right? Which is all fine and good. And I agree to a certain extent, but at the same time, we got to put our people first.
Right. Well, the reason why we say that is because we feel like our humanity isn't respected. So we want to buy black. We want to think black. We want to buy black. Mm-hmm. We want to build black because we want black to be respected. We want black to have a seat at the table and make deals, not beg. So it's like you said, it's all good that, you know, some people feel a way about buying black, but that's just a way to empower ourselves. You'll never tell an Asian person, well, you need to be more accepting and do deals with everybody. They're going to say, no, I'm going to do business with other Asian people because I'm building my community.
Right.
There's nothing bad to you, or not that I don't like you, not that I think you're bad people. I just rather keep my money, my dollars circulated within my community so my community can continue to thrive.
Right. 1000%.
So we say buy black, build black, be proud of it, because we need our communities to thrive, and we need to all have that same vision for ourselves.
Right. And he says, I'm going to read a quote out of the book. He says, for Black America to place its own group's self-interest ahead of every other group does not mean dislike for other groups. Not at all. It simply means that we have matured politically and economically and would neither love nor treat any other group better than we love or treat ourselves.
Message.
Bars. He's basically saying, let's just love ourselves, man. Let's put ourselves first.
That's it.
Before we go and support another community, before we cape and, you know, back another community, let's build up our own first. That only makes sense. That's human instincts.
Right. It's not saying, all right, well, now I'm not going to go buy food at the Asian market because I don't want to build their community. It's like, all right, well, we need our own market.
Right. Let's build our market.
Let's build our market. Let's build our nail salons. Let's build our hair shops, our barber shops, our grocery stores, our banks, because at the end of the day, we're all we got.
Right. And yeah, let's build these places so we can enjoy the things that we like. How many times have we gone to a store and they don't have the hair product we're looking for?
All the time.
And we're like, damn, man, they don't got what I need. And you got to go to 5 different stores to get what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because these are not for us. These are not these are not controlled by our people. Now, if we were in our communities and we had stores and things that were controlled by our people, it'd be no problem. Right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think we just got to start to put each other first and, you know, support each other.
Definitely. And, you know, it's crazy. Like, I think I highlighted this part, and he was talking about how, as an example of how, some activities that are at odds with black empowerment, such as including blacks in the concept of a minority. For example, I'm going to read this direct. Major American corporations are again pushing Congress to increase the immigration quota on the number of highly trained foreign nationals who could immigrate to this country to fill high-tech jobs. This practice has a direct impact on Black Americans trained in their country of origin. These immigrants represent a free ride for American corporations. They do not have to pay for their training of the immigrants, and they also avoid paying taxes to educate undereducated Americans, especially Black Americans, for these high-tech jobs. Now, I know in my company, I have to deal with like technical support, and I've never talked or I've never spoken to an American person that is in tech support. It's always an Indian person, an Asian person that literally have a thick accent, and you could tell they don't live in America. Yeah. And when I read that was the first thing that popped in my mind. Like, yo, like I've every time I call technical support, it's a person that's not American. Right. Let alone Black. They're not American. Right. You know what I mean? So they outsource these jobs and took away jobs from us to give to these people because they can, you know, they'll do it for cheaper. Right. Whatever the case may be, but it directly impacts us. Right. And because we're not empowered, because we don't have our culture intact in a positive way, the way we need it to have, and we don't have a group vision, we allow these things to happen to us. You know, so that really struck to me that because we're not together, these things are happening outside of us, and we're just victims of these jobs being outsourced. Right. We have no say so. Right. You know, but then we blame America when really, if we were empowered, we would prevent some of these things from happening.
Right. If we had a vision, and again, if we put our self-interest first, because again, back to what I said, no one is going to save us. Something I said on the last episode was, Dr. Claude Anderson mentioned in an interview, he's like, we look to these systems that are designed to uphold racism for justice. So the judicial system, we look to the police are killing us in the street, and then the trial goes to court and we think we're going to see justice. No. Like, these systems were created to uphold racism. And because we don't have enough black people in these spaces, in these political positions, right, we don't see justice. And because we don't have the money and the economics to support politicians and get what we want done, these things what we want done can't be done. Mm-hmm. And back to vision, we don't have a clear vision of what we want done.
Right, so it all ties in together. Like you said, if we don't occupy those political spaces, and if we do occupy those political spaces, that person or persons has to have the group vision.
Right.
Has to be a part of the culture. Has to be for the progress. And we may have people that look like us in those spaces, but the culture and the vision are not in place.
Right.
And, that starts from culture.
Yeah.
That person wasn't raised in the culture. Probably, whatever their situation was, they didn't, grasp it. They created their own vision or were given a vision by somebody outside of the group. Mm-hmm. And now they're in a political space and they don't fight for us.
Right.
They don't fight for people who look like them.
They integrate. They adapt. They adapt to the majority.
And they leave the group behind because they feel the leading, dominant group is more suited for their success, their individual success.
Right. So the first one we got culture empowerment. And then the second one, vision. You got to have a clear vision. The third one, very interesting, is ethno-aggregation. And the idea behind ethno-aggregation is just literally it says the voluntary concentration of individuals and their resources around their ethnic or language commonalities for the purpose of improving their economic and political competitiveness. So basically, it's kind of just what we're talking about, is coming together and sharing our resources, sharing our money, in regards to pooling our money together in group economics, sharing our knowledge, sharing our expertise, and building up our communities. Mm-hmm. And while I was reading this, because it talked about Little Italy, you'll have a Chinatown, you'll have all these, in major cities, you'll have all these different communities, right? And you rarely have black communities. But I actually grew up in a black community in Canada, in Toronto. I grew up in Little Jamaica. And I literally saw ethno-aggregation at work. You had your Jamaican food spots, right? So literally you hit the strip, go get a haircut, mm-hmm. right? You would copy a little weed while you're there, right? Then you would go get some food from across the street from the Jamaican spot.
Get that jerk chicken.
That oxtail. You grab a patty and some cocoa bread. And then, you'll get you some wave cream. You go to the beauty supply store, get you some hair products. There's beauty salons. And that's what he's talking about. It's we come together and we share our resources. Mm-hmm. We create this ecosystem, right? And again, we have to, part of our culture, bringing it back to hip hop, it's separating us from each other. Mm-hmm. We have to come together.
Facts. They did a great analogy on, I should say Claude Anderson did a great analogy on ethno-aggregation with the Arabs that went into Detroit. Mm-hmm. He explained that when Detroit, I guess, wasn't in a thriving position at this time, 90% of Detroit was black.
Was black, yeah.
These group of Arab community families moved into Detroit and started applying their culture and their vision in the city. Also, coupled with the ethno-aggregation, they created jobs, businesses, and etc., and built a system for themselves.
Right.
And while they're building this system, the other 90% of people, black people in Detroit, are unaware that this is being built. So they're spending their money with them. Now they're, they own the liquor store. Okay, I'm gonna buy my liquor there. They own the gas station. I'm gonna spend my gas there. They own the grocery store. I'm spend my money with them.
Right. Hey,
they're just thinking, oh, I'm just getting my essentials.
What I need. And he even talked about how they would throw parades and willingly, of course, invite other communities and other races to partake. Of course, to come spend your dollars. But we're gonna take those dollars,
put it right back in our community.
And we're gonna bring it back to our communities, to the point where he talks about they made so much money where they took a large millions. I can't remember the figure.
$65 million back to their home country.
To their home country. So out of the United States, and took it back to their home country to help their family and their people in another country.
They made $65 million off of black people, off of poor black people.
And he said to the point where the city took a hit because they took that capital and took it to their own countries. But that's just an example of having a culture that everyone can get behind, having a vision to execute, and having that ethno-aggregation. We're gonna come together. I'm gonna bring my people from my family, my friends from the homeland. Come, we're building a community. We're building businesses. There's gonna be opportunities to make money. We're gonna build this thing. We're gonna continue to pour into each other and support each other and keep our dollars in our community, to where now we're taking all that money that we made and we're taking it back to our homeland. Not only are we doing that, he talked about how they took that, they had the knowledge and the intelligence to take that money and back politicians.
Exactly.
And they were able to buy, they were able to get their agendas funded. All right, we need more support in regards to creating opportunity and creating businesses.
Yep.
We need more support. Look what we've done thus far on our own. Okay, now I'm gonna put money behind you, Mr. Politician. I need you to support me and my community in creating more opportunity.
Right, and of course the politician goes, okay,
1,000%.
show me the money, I got you.
It's what is it called? There's a term for it where it's like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
And you can use that as a term. I don't know the term, but
there's a term. I can't remember what it is, but it's literally, it's basically, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Kind of, I don't know if this reciprocity. It's in there. It's that's the term, but it just shows that this small group made $65 million off of us and pretty much reinvested that money within themselves and into politicians to further advance their system that they put in place.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's what should happen.
That's what you should be doing.
But the problem is, we're not doing it for ourselves.
We're not doing it for ourselves. And that is the problem. So yeah, he just talks about, coming together, group economics, pooling together your resources. That way we can compete with these other communities. If we're taking our hard-earned dollars and we don't even have communities and infrastructures to spend our money within with our people, and we're just willingly giving it to other communities, at that point, we're not competing. We're literally, like, if we're talking about sports and we're bringing it back to basketball, it's almost like Space Jam. It's like the Monstars versus the
Looney Tunes without Jordan.
Yeah, without Jordan. It's like we're literally not even playing the game. We're just forfeiting the game. Like, all right, we forfeit.
Here, take my money.
We're just waving the white flag. Like, we're not even gonna compete.
We're not even putting points on the board.
We're not even putting it. It's like we're just getting destroyed and crushed. And I think What's nice is this book was written, I think, in 1999. This was a 5-year plan. So this was to get black people to economic and political empowerment by 2005. That was the plan that he had in place. When in 2021, I think the mindset is starting to shift. I think with the internet and different platforms like this, and where we can share information, we can share ideas, we're starting to realize, like, oh yeah, we do need to be buying black.
We realize this is happening.
Right. Yeah, we do need to be coming together and exercising group economics. We do need to be sharing resources. We do realize that, I can't do this by myself. I can potentially, but it's going to be a lot harder. Let me, get some people around me. Let me get my people around me, and let's build this thing together. And I think it's starting to happen. But I think with reading this book, it'll put a lot of shit in perspective, and it'll give you the blueprint.
Literally.
Like, this is what y'all need to do.
And it's very clear cut, black and white. There is no color to this. It's literally, this is what we need to do if you want this to happen. Right. And again, please buy the book. Please read the book.
The book. Buy the book. And he talks about we talked about, a lot of the times he talks about middle-class working black people, the backbone of our communities a lot of the times, right? Mm-hmm. How, we move and we go to the suburbs, and we're now in white communities, and again, we're integrating, right? Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation about that, and I think, and again, black people, we live in the suburbs, right? And part of it is to be in a safe environment, to be in a clean environment, to have certain things around you that you want for your kids, to have a better education. That's just the reality of it, right? But I think the solution that we came up with is move to these suburbs, right? But don't be so stuck on integrating. Bring your people with you. Mm-hmm. Build your community. Build your own village in these suburbs.
Oh, it's the Arab example. Yeah. Take your group, take your family, take the people you love and trust, move to a place that you see potential and growth. Right. And build within yourselves.
Right. If you feel like you can't do it in the existing community you're in, where it's heavily, black, or there's already an existing community, if you can't do it within that community and you feel like, well, there's better resources for my family and myself in these other neighborhoods in the suburbs, move there. Don't be focused on integrating, though. Bring your people with you and create your ecosystem out there, and build your people up out there. Start a business up out there.
Right. And we could do it.
We definitely
all it takes is for us to trust each other, to know that we have our culture intact, we have the same vision in mind. Right. And when we make that transition, that we make sure that we have ethno-aggregation in place. We're pooling our resources together to create a better community for our families, our friends, and our future. Right. And to actually go on top of ethno-aggregation, there's a second paradigm to that, and that's vertical integration.
Vertical integration.
So what he says is, now that we understand the concept of ethno-aggregation and the process of pooling group resources, let us move on to the second empowerment paradigm, which is vertical integration. Yep. Vertical integration is a directional paradigm that comes into play after blacks as a group have ethno-aggregated around their most common and prominent characteristics. There is a commonly accepted rule in sociology that when ethnic groups are wedged in hierarchies of wealth, power, and privilege, competitive conflicts are inevitable. Vertical integration empowers blacks to be territorial and vertically mobile. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he has a model here. It's a T model. Just to get a visual illustration, if y'all can see that. There's a T model, right? Pause the video if you want to read what it says. The problem that he states in this model is that we move in this old horizontal model. We start off with social integration. So we integrate socially first. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we social integrate first, and then we try to move up the chain with who kind of has our same ideals. So it's kind of backwards. So if we use the model that Claude Anderson suggests, it's ethno-aggregate first,
Right.
pull our resources together first,
build businesses, ownership, bring group economics, buy assets, buy real estate, start investment clubs, create our wealth there. Once we have our businesses, now let's vertically integrate. Now, if he gives an example of hair products and beauty products, he says, all right, cool. So yeah, with that example, it's like, okay, let's make the product. Let's start a business making the product, but let's own the retail spaces. Let's own the real estate. Let's own the distributing companies. Let's own the manufacturing. Let's vertically integrate in the marketing. Let's own all of that. So now we can create more opportunities for our people, right? So it's literally just scaling up what we've created. And instead of saying, okay, I have this product that I created, I did what Claude Anderson said, I created this product and I created this business. Now but I need someone to distribute it. So let me go outside of my community to get someone to distribute it. No, let me go to a black-owned distribution company. Let me create the company. Let me find a way, again, to keep it within my community.
Right.
Let's what is it? I always get it wrong. Ethno-aggregate. Let's pull our resources together and find someone that within the community that's great at marketing.
Right. And then we're building with each other at that point.
Right.
Because now I have an invested interest and so do you.
Right.
And that's basically really all we have to do. And it doesn't have to be a major scale. It could be a small scale.
Right.
Like you could, for people in real estate, you want to buy properties. Okay, now I have all these properties, I can't manage them. Let me create the management company or go to a black-owned management company.
Right.
Okay, well now I need, my plumbing done. Let's go to a black plumber, or let's create a plumbing business, or let's, and just keep branching off in the same stream or the same, what's the word for it? Help me out.
In the same one.
Because I'm speaking real estate. So if I'm buying property, all right, now I need, obviously I got to market if I'm a buy and sell. Then you need management. Say if you have multiple properties, you can't manage it personally. Right. So that's another business that you can, maybe a black person owns or you can create.
Right.
Just all the steps to vertically integrate in that one lane.
Right.
Lane in this example is real estate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Within that one industry, yeah. And it's just creating, and it really all it's doing to simplify, it's just creating more opportunity for our people and circulating the dollar. And again, we're pulling together our resources. I think, I just bring it back to, I was fortunate enough again to see that at play and to see that work. And when you're a kid growing up in it, you don't think this way, right? But that's why I was so excited in reading this book, and I was just like, man, I was fortunate enough to grow up in Little Jamaica in Toronto, and I was able to see that happen. And I grew up on, it's called Eglinton Avenue West, and it's a long strip, and it's literally small black businesses, and it's less than a mile where I would handle all my business. Less than a mile long. I got my barbershop, I got a food spot, get somewhere to get my hairbrush and my wave grease and my do-rag, and it's literally, they share customers and they feed them. They definitely share their resources and pull together.
Circulating their dollars, keeping them dollars within the community.
Within the community. And unfortunately, that community is going through a tough time right now due to COVID, due to just gentrification. So that community may be no longer, but that just, again, reiterates the point of, not only do we need to come together and pool our resources together and create these businesses, but again, then we need to vertically integrate. But we also need the important piece that I think again, an area of opportunity for black people is we then need to take those dollars and bring them and introduce them into the political space. And say, all right, pick a politician or start your own party. I think he talks about that too. Start your own political party, right? Mm-hmm. He talks about black people's vote is very powerful and it's very influential. What we can do politically, and we saw that in Georgia, we can do amazing things, right? But I think historically, politics, not for me. It's rigged anyway, so let me just not participate. No, we need to take our money and pick a politician or catapult somebody in position and be like, yo, here's our money, here's our dollars, this is what we need to get done.
This is our vision.
We need more funding for our small businesses. We need to expand. We need to grow. We need some more support. We need legislation. We need this, that, and the third, right? So when we do have situations like COVID that come along, we have some backing by politicians, the people that create laws and make decisions, and we have access to funds.
Definitely. That's what we got to do. So I got a question for you. Reading chapter 2, what was your first initial thoughts after reading it?
After chapter 2?
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot of thoughts reading it again. Like I said, I was super excited reading it because it's in chapter 2 alone, it kind of tells you what needs to be done, and it's not rocket science. It's things that we already are aspiring to do, but it just gives it to you like in plain English, and it gives you the blueprint. So I guess to answer your question, my initial thought was, how do I start to execute it?
Right.
What can I do in my life to follow this plan?
Right. Because you read and you're like, wow, this is solid. This is literally something anybody can pick up and read, and you're going to get a jewel out of here.
Right. This is tangible things. Again, at this point, we're not just talking and complaining about our situation in the state that we're in. No, we know where we're in, and where we're at in this country, in this society. Cool, got it. I'm not looking to other groups and communities, and we should not be looking to other groups and communities to get us out of where we are. It's not going to happen.
No, we got to look in the mirror, and we got to look at ourselves.
It's not going to happen.
And we have to trust each other.
We got to rely on each other to get us out of, to empower ourselves. So that's what I thought. I'm like, I live in the suburbs. Am I part of the problem? You know what I mean? Like, I separated myself from, I guess, people that look like me. But me and my wife have had these conversations. Like, where can we go in Los Angeles? Where can we go? We thought about moving back to Canada. We thought about moving to Atlanta because ultimately we wanted to be around our people. We wanted our kids to be around people that look like them, right? So we've had these conversations. So that was really my immediate thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had the similar sentiment, man. Like, I read it and it was just like, wow, like, why isn't this book talked about more?
Yeah,
why isn't there an audio book?
Right.
Because this information right here is powerful. This information, if willing to read it, has the ability to switch your mentality, to change your mindset, to think of and look at things with a different lens, and to look past yourself and look at the group as a whole. Obviously, individually, we can try to attain these things, but culture is not one person.
Right, exactly.
I mean, vision can be within one person, but that vision it can't happen without a group.
Right, exactly. And I think that's where it starts. It starts with your own personal thoughts and ideas and your own personal innovation, and you start there. And then again, you try to align yourself with, again, people that look like you and think like you, and you guys try to build something. And again, just be mindful of the almighty dollar, because that's what's economics, right? Try to support your local businesses. Try to support your black businesses. Keep the dollar, circulating within our communities. And if it's not, Claude Anderson, again, I mentioned this last episode, but we don't have enough businesses to meet all of our needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so if it's not spending your dollars, support your fellow business, market them, recommend it to, like, word of mouth is the best marketing tool, right? Just anything you can do to support your fellow, brother, your fellow sister. I think we all got to do our part and come together, and I think this we'll be able to execute this. But yeah,
definitely, man. This is a great chapter.
Great chapter. I'm excited to read the rest.
I'm so looking forward to the rest, and I'm pretty sure everybody out there will love hearing about it.
Yeah, and I hope we're trying our best to break it down. This is our first time doing a breakdown of a book, and there's so much information and jewels in here that I hope we're doing a good job in kind of
summarizing
and communicating it. But again, like we were saying, I know you just got to get the book yourself.
Just go buy it,
read it, engage in the dialogue with us, because there's a lot of jewels, man. It's just everything that we're really asking for and fighting for thus far, it's in here, and it's giving us a plan. It's like we still gotta fight. No, let me not say that. But at the same time, as we're fighting and we're letting our voices be heard, amongst the masses, we gotta now congregate with each other and organize and plan and share resources and put our own thing together, man, because they ain't gonna save us, man. It's just not gonna happen.
No,
they're not gonna
save us. The hardest thing for us, personally for me, I think would be we have to trust each other that we are going to do this. Mm-hmm. I can't, when times get tough, I can't back out and be like, no, I'm out. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like we got to stick it all the way through. If we're going to create a culture, within your household, within your community, within your circle of people, your friends, like create that culture and stand by it.
Right.
If something's happening that is outside of what you want, the people you love the most to be around, say something, do something, hold people accountable.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, this is our thing.
Right.
And once we can get to that point where you have your group, you have your community, and you're ready to take action, think tank it, come to a group and express your visions.
Right.
Find the commonalities.
Right.
How can we execute?
Right.
Where can we go? What resources do you have? Who do you know?
Right.
And as soon as we can start getting into that flow, then the energy starts building.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, now I can see the vision because it's real.
Right.
I can see it in you. You can see it in me. We can see it in you. All right, now let's execute it.
Right.
And then once we can get to the point where we can execute, then you go back to that marathon.
Yeah.
Grind it out. Keep it going. Never stop. Stay believing in ourselves.
Yeah.
Believe in your partners. Believe in your community. Believe in your people. And we will attain this in 5 years.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of that, just let's champion each other, man, because it's like, I think a lot of times we look at, like that person's doing it, why can't I do it? And man, no, champion that person, get behind that person, promote that person, shout that person out, because if they make it, that gives you the lane to make it. If that's someone that makes it, that's someone that's vertically, that has made it up the chain, they now have access to different resources that they can potentially share with you.
Right. Pick that person's brain.
Have it like, and again, that's what it's all about, man. And just to give a small example in regards to, you mentioned sticking it through, and just to make that tangible, it's like when you're supporting a black business, it generally probably going to be a small business. There might be something you're not happy with in the process, whether it be the customer service, whether it be the actual product, whatever. Instead of saying, because I've done this in the past, instead of complaining and be like, fuck, man, like, damn, man, black people, and I'm trying to support and I'm trying to, man, I'm just going to, stick it out, man.
Don't find a reason.
Companies make mistakes all the time. We have no problem going into Walmart and you know, complaining to them and saying, yo, this is what y'all did wrong, I'm pissed, and this is what, and then going back to the next day and shopping there again, or giving them the opportunity to make it right.
Right.
So do the same thing. Go into the business and be like, yo, this is what happened. I'm not happy. Can I offer some feedback? And give them a chance to make it right. Let's not give up on each other. Let's build each other up. Let's give each other feedback. Like you said, let's hold each other accountable, and let's get better. I think too many times when we support each other, if it's not perfect, it's like, man, fuck, I'm done supporting. I'm just going to.
And that's it right there. It doesn't have to be perfect.
It don't got to be perfect.
It don't have to be perfect because nothing is perfect.
Right.
Tesla ain't perfect. Amazon ain't perfect.
Right.
Okay? These small businesses are definitely not going to be perfect.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're ours.
Right.
And we have to cultivate it. We got to grow it.
They serve us, yeah.
You know, they serve our purposes that we need. So, man, like you said, like we both said, man, just buy the book, you know, read it with us as we go along, chime in, like, subscribe, comment, share, and let's talk about it. Let's open the conversation.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we think our culture is and what we can, you know, really share, what our actual culture is and how we can improve our culture, right? And then let's talk about the vision. What's our goal? What's our vision? And then let's start to share resources. And nowadays with social media and the internet, and different platforms like this, I see it happening. But let's put it on steroids, and let's really, I think the piece is supporting each other. That's
the brick.
And really wanting to build our communities. Let's buy black, let's create black, let's support black, let's brainstorm black, let's organize, plan black. Everything black. Everything black, man. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Because these other cultures and communities do it and have no problem doing it.
That's what they're doing. They're buying Asian. They're buying everything.
They're building Asian. They're planning Asian. They're organizing. They're keeping it within the communities. There's nothing wrong with that, black people.
We can do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. So
I believe in us. We can do it.
Right. So, that conclude another episode, man. Driving While Black podcast.
Master number, episode 11.
11, man. That sacred number. So, yeah, thank y'all for riding with us again. I know we went on several tangents, but, man, I think we were just super passionate about this this chapter and this book. So, again, please pick it up, man. Please pick it up.
Man, chapter 11, POWERNOMICS.
Thank y'all for riding with us.
Let's go.
Peace.
Another one in the bag.